Before reaching Jimmy's auto shop, Shane and Birch passed a Dollar General locked up tighter than Fort Knox, and Pete's Donuts with a dozen cars in the lot. The town seemed no bigger than Buckeye, but not even Buckeye had a Dollar General. Jimmy looked up, dropped his pen. Shane gave the man his credit card. Sure appreciate it. You fellas say you headed to Buckeye, huh? That's right. Home sweet home. Always been hearing them tall tales about the woods being haunted and strange animals roaming around out there. Like you said, it's all a bunch of tall tales. It's one of them towns that's so small it's only got half a horse and half a hole in the wall. When the locals get bored, they get drunk. And when shooting out of the lights gets old, they tell wild tales around the bonfire. And the next morning, the whole town hears about the latest boogeyman. Is that right? I reckon I ought to get over there someday and see what all the hoopla's about. Birch readjusted himself in the passenger seat. Called Lizzie? You're married. And you're in love, so you shouldn't have asked for her number in the first place. Well, what did she say? It was a number to Doyle's funeral home. She was fucking with you, dude. Guess I deserved it. Yep. But on the bright side, Doyle's is having a 2-for-1 sale on caskets. Birch leaned the seat back, closed his eyes, and laced his hands on his stomach. Should have spent the extra $20 for Big Dave's hotel. I really am a fuck-up. Yep. Got booted off the football team for fighting. Same goddamn thing in the army, and I fucked us over in Pecos. Got the whole damn rig shut down. Don't forget about getting us thrown in Mexican jail. Lucky we didn't get raped by Jesus. That biker dude looked like he could do some real damage. Shane took the on-ramp to I-45. The sign read Houston, 402. He set the cruise control to 70. I get why you want to leave the rig, and I'm right there with you. I don't belong there. Hell, I don't belong anywhere. And that night in Colorado, last fall? Technically, that one wasn't my fault. I didn't realize that girl was a guy till after I'd pinched his ass. Birch looked at him. You know where you belong? With Amy, that's where. He closed his eyes again and turned on his side. So just don't screw that up and you'll be fine. Yes, oh wise one. The blood is thicker than water, young grasshopper, but you must store the past under the bridge and stock grain for the coming winter. Scooter was the only blood Shane had left. He hadn't seen his old man in years. Last he heard, his mom was living in Topeka with her latest boy toy. Probably passed out right now in some rundown studio apartment. For the last 5 years, Amy had watched over Scooter right down to the parent-teacher conferences. When Scooter was laid out for 3 weeks with mono, she had pulled all-nighters, patting his head with cool cloths. All day she read to him in between serving ginger tea, chicken soup, and acetaminophen. During his freshman year, the kid received one hell of a shiner, prompting Amy to march into the school office and lecture the principal on developing a better zero-tolerance policy. Amy might not be blood, but she was family. And she'd been his sister's friend before Shane killed her, that is. Shane thought back to the day she came back into his life. the day she agreed to move in with him and Scooter. Crusted blood on his nose, his right eye black as night. He sat on the front porch of the trailer drinking coffee with Amy. Thanks for staying last night. You took a bad beating. I didn't feel right about leaving. She sipped her coffee. I didn't want to go home anyhow. I just inherited a trailer in custody of my kid brother yesterday. What the fuck am I supposed to do with him? My mother, the drunk bitch, threw a hissy and walked out on him. On us. She never got over Vicky's death, huh? Shane fingered his sore ribs and sipped the bitter black coffee. You still hear her voice, don't you? No, you're lying. You just don't want me to think you're crazy. I'm not lying. Until last night, Vicky hadn't spoken to me in over 6 months. She left my head because she didn't want me to spend the rest of my life in a nut house. But she's still watching over you and me. And that's why she told me you were in trouble at that bar last night. Shane laughed and she glared at him. He held up his hands as if in surrender. I just got this mental image of you playing patty cake with my dead sister. You're a real comedian, jerk. Shane wrapped an arm around Amy. Sorry. I think Vicky knows you're leaving and she can't go with you. I can still feel her presence somewhere deep inside of me. And it's a really sad presence. Right. He'd only been 15 when he was screwing around in his old man's truck and disengaged the emergency brake. As it rolled down the driveway, Shane felt the hard bump and heard Amy's earth-shattering scream. Vicky lay in the driveway, looking very, very wrong. Her little lips tried to form words, but the only thing she spouted was blood. Brightest red blood ever. It trickled from the corner of her mouth and down her chin. Amy'd only been 12 when she witnessed her best friend's death. And at 16, her dead friend started talking to her. I don't think you're crazy, Amy. It was all my fault. I shouldn't have been fucking around in that truck. It wasn't anybody's fault. It was just a tragic accident. And I'm glad I could hear her voice. I know she's always going to be watching over us both. I guess everybody can benefit from a guardian angel. Now that you've escaped the nut house, where are you staying? I'll drive you home. With this guy named Boone. We met in therapy, and he's got a small 2-room house in Cedar Ridge. So this Boone is a crazy? Yeah, like me. He's bipolar. You got some messed up thing for the crazies, don't you? I used to have a thing for you, so you tell me. I'm not crazy. I just ain't no good. It was an accident. Accident? Semantics. She's dead. It's my fault. My parents split. My dad's God knows where, and my mother is so strung out on booze and painkillers that she doesn't even remember she still has 2 living offspring. Amy kissed him on the cheek. His arms still around her, Shane gave her a squeeze. I never really noticed how much an attractive girl you grew into. Guess I still see you with pigtails and sticky hands from a popsicle. I haven't worn pigtails in nearly a decade. For the first time ever, Shane really looked at Amy. And not only had he seen a radiant yet humble beauty in her pale face, but he also saw a slight swell on the apple of her cheek. A thin sliver of a cut under her eye. Boone's roughing you up, isn't he? Nobody's roughing me up. But Shane noticed the slight trembling in her lips. He brushed her blonde hair away from her collarbone. I've choked enough guys in my life to know that those are finger marks. He goes off his meds sometimes, that's all. I went out drinking last night because I wanted one last night of fun before Uncle Sam pays my airfare to Iraq. I can't watch over my brother, and you need a place to stay. So how about you look after him while I'm abroad? I'll send you and Scooter money, I swear it." She looked at her feet and shrugged. "Boone really needs me." The front door opened. Scooter skipped down the steps between them. Backpack full. Tears streamed down his red cheeks. He had a water jug under one arm and a pellet gun in the other. "Where are you going, buddy?" "Mom left. You're leaving. That girl doesn't want to take care of me either. I'm gonna go find Dad. I hate you and that stupid girl." Shane sipped the last of his coffee. That boy needs you a lot more than some crazy bastard. And he won't hurt you. "20 miles had gone by on the long Texas highway. Birch snored. If anyone had ever deserved a good old-fashioned ass-kicking, it had been that crazy-ass Boone. And it had been one of the best beatings Shane ever had the pleasure of delivering. 170 miles to go. January 1st. Today I confessed my visions to Elder Kai. I have been hesitant to do so and have struggled with the decision for the past few months. But these visions are a marauder in the dark that steals away my sanity night after night. I informed Elder Kai of my intended path, which did not surprise him. He said we are all enslaved by destiny. He did not, however, press me to further describe my communications with the Dark Trinity. I have always revered the Elder to the best of my abilities and never spoke my hesitations aloud. But after today, I suspect Elder Kai's intuition greatly exceeds every other Elder and Templar of the Order and Court. But does he support my path in earnest? Regardless of his support, or lack thereof, it sways my decision none. Whether I turn north or south, east or west, my future looks bleak. I must do what will benefit the Order, the Earth, the universes. With a heavy heart, I went to my room to retire. There I noticed Atticus lying in bed, his hands clasped behind his head. He appeared dazed, as he had most of today. He spoke of young Cassian and pretty Verona, and the thoughts that had possessed him as of late. I cannot blame my blood brother. Both maidens are quite striking. Most warriors could not ignore their delicate features and playful wit. Even I sometimes falter in their presence. But I cannot allow their beauty and charm to distract Atticus. The fate of all existence depends on him remaining true to his convictions. Years ago, I informed Atticus of the importance of frequently stroking his sword. Tonight, I reminded him of that lesson in hopes that tomorrow he will maintain better focus. Rorn. Your destination will be on the right. Atticus turned his car into the shaded parking area of the Stonehenge Western Bed and Breakfast. A wrought iron fence adorned with wagon wheels surrounded the property. A stone chimney poked from the top of the large brick home, themed after an 1800s motel. Faux wanted posters, sepia-toned, featured photos of people named Roarin' Roxy, Wild Boar Bowden, Madman Abraham, and others. The locals of Buckeye, Atticus surmised. A middle-aged brunette woman with a young oval face stood behind an antique cash register, its edges rusted and corners bent. "I would like a room." "Of course you would, sweetie. Why else would you be here? Let Miss Trish get you all fixed up." A poster was tacked to the parallel wall, written in a large comical font, "Deemed haunted by the world-renowned Buckeye Paranormal Investigations, BPI. The Stonehenge Western Bed and Breakfast offers no discounts for rooms already occupied by the supernatural." "Were you interested in staying in one of our authentic haunted guest suites?" "Just a standard room, please." "Oh, come now. Our ghosts are friendly enough. Nothing to be afraid of." Atticus's lips stretched into a half grin. "I've slept with worse." Trish hesitated, seemingly taken aback. "What brings you to town?" "I hunt the beast." "Ah, well, you'll find plenty of them in Sacred Forest." From one of the cubby holes behind her, she fetched a key. "How long will you be staying?" "Until the beast is dead."
"Well, we offer a home-style breakfast. Roxy's Diner caters lunch. In the evenings, we offer sweet tea, front porch sitting, and horseshoes." She gave a wink. "Ramsey, my husband, is the undefeated champion."
Atticus set a stack of money down. "How many nights can I afford?"
"That'll get you 2 weeks at least."
"If you need anything, darling, you just ask for Miss Trish or Mr. Ramsey Stonehenge." "Bobby, we have a new guest." Kids are so lazy these days. But can't really blame them with all those gadgets and doodads they got. "You sure do look like an old soul, hun. What's your name?" He bowed. "My name is Atticus." "After Mr. Atticus Finch?" "No, ma'am. After the martyr." "Oh, I see. Well, it's a nice name." An overweight teenage boy entered from the parlor room. He held a half-empty bag of deep-fried potato slices called potato chips in one hand, and a large can of soda poison in the other. "Yes, ma'am." "Bobby, dear, meet our newest guest, Atticus." "Yo." "Take Atticus to his room." "Come on." His bag slung over his shoulder, Atticus followed. Bobby waved Atticus along as if he were a pet. "Nice gear." The boy looked back at Atticus. "Looks like the leather armor from guild battles, after you add the green dye that you have to get from the goblin archers in Pyrewind Meadows." Strange. The Order was under the impression they'd eradicated goblins from this region of the planet long ago. "Here it is." Bobby waved at a door with a copper star emblazoned into the antique wood. A photo of a malnourished gunfighter was pinned on the bedroom wall. A caption beneath read, "I'll be your huckleberry." It's the holiday suite. Get it? "Yo, man, is that a real sword?" "Indeed." He removed Rorn's journal and the wilted flower. "Is there food? A restaurant nearby?" "Carmen will be by around noon with lunch. Not my taste, but people around here seem to love her. I mean, the food." Atticus gave a curt nod and closed the door in the boy's face. He hadn't eaten since graduation night, but first he needed to report his observations of the murder scene. From his belt clip, he unclasped his phone and dialed Elder Kai. "Atticus, my boy." "I humbly ask, is there any more information you have uncovered regarding the Geminus?" "I have consulted with members from the Arch-Templars of the Divine Council. Their knowledge is limited, but we have found some clues after searching the ancient texts. The female, or whelp, will be in heat and prove to be extremely fatalistic." "The stag has already proven its savagery." "The gruesome murder of one family is just the beginning. The female will morph from human into a primordial beast with more animalistic than human traits. The Arch-Templars speculate that the Geminus will attempt to mate soon, bringing her into full maturity.
Understood, but I am unclear as to how to proceed.
I will continue to meet with the council and phone as soon as I know more.
Atticus paced at the foot of the bed. Is there no path I can explore while I wait for your call?
An interdimensional gateway can be found somewhere in the sacred woods on the outskirts of Buckeye.
I will leave at once.
Nay, only if the Order has exhausted all other avenues and still can find no further clues to help with your search of the Geminus. It is a last resort only. Understood? You may inadvertently summon an evil entity or worse. Lose yourself on some alien realm. You lack the esoteric skills required to manipulate a cosmic vortex. It would be far too dangerous.
A patch of thick woods lined the distant landscape. He gazed into sacred oaks, the forest where he could find answers. But he was to do nothing, just sit and wait. I am expected to save the world with my hands bound by the chain of command?
As I am a steward of the Order, I must dictate procedure warning you against unauthorized actions.
I refuse to sit idle.
Open your ears, boy. I've given you an alternative. One last thing. The Geminus are capable of sensing your presence. It is only a matter of time before it attempts to eliminate you. After all, you are its most feared predator.
Atticus looked again at the woods. Perhaps it is time I start playing with madness.